Okay.
You see where it says view options at the top of your screen?
Okay, I think we're recording.
It's recording now. It says
Okay.
recording.
Cool. Thanks, because the screen looks different. But anyway, so I want to say hello to folks both on video and on the phone. My name is Gayla Tillman. I am the civic engagement organizer for Georgia Conservation Voters. I'm the one that's kind of going to be leading the like environmental side of this conversation. And I'll get into like GCV and what we do a little bit later. And then if y'all could, for people who are able to, like, drop your name, pronouns, and what you love about environmental justice or reproductive justice in the chat, just so we can like introduce ourselves in kind of like a non-traditional way. That'd be cool, but I'm gonna pass it over to our partners.
Hey, it's Allison. Full name's Allison Kaufman. I work with Amplify Georgia. My pronouns are she, her. And I will be talking about reproductive justice work and specifically some of the local work we're doing in South Fulton, Atlanta, and Clarkston.
Hi, my name is Agbo Ekor. I'm the Director of Programs with Spark Reproductive Justice now. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm going to be speaking a bit about like Spark's work, how we queer reproductive justice, and then uplifting sort of that, how environmental justice relates to RJ.
Yeah, I had to put something on Bruce because otherwise he's like a Ken doll with some hair.
It'll work. We'll do some funny stuff tomorrow.
If you can mute yourself, because we can hear you talking.
For happy hour.
Hold on. Okay, I think
you can mute them too.
Yeah, that's what I was, because I was trying to figure out who it was. so sorry, Agbo. Cool.
Everyone heard me, right?
Hopefully.
Okay.
And it's a shame. I said say your pronouns, and I didn't even say my pronouns. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, but all of them are cool. And yeah, so we're just gonna hop right in. So this is just the agenda for the call, so that way folks don't feel like we're just yammering on for hours. So as far as the environmental aspect, I'll go into like the campaigns that's going on around the South River, and talk about like how the environment impacts our health, and then segue that health aspect into reproductive justice. And then you'll hear from our partners. You'll hear reproductive justice with Amplify, and then queering RJ with Spark. And then of course we want to hear from y'all and ask questions of like, what do you think? Or just like ask questions of like how to get involved with folks of like what they explained. And then we're going to ask you guys a question, so that way we can be better, I won't say better organizers, but we can incorporate what community wants in terms of like how we do our work and how we can be better strategists. I'm trying to check the chat. Okay, cool. So slide 1. Oh wow, I have to move this. So as I've said, I work for Georgia Conservation Voters. GCV is an environment organization that engages civically to change the planet. So if you're on video, if you're not on video, I have this kind of like circle, like cycle situation that explains the ways that GCV engages our work, like the steps of how we do our work. So one of the first steps is talking to community members and working with our community partners to talk about how to prioritize conservation, how to prioritize and really engage environmental justice. And then we use that education, those things that we've learned from our community, from these different organizations, and we use it to educate and train and mobilize folks across spectrum, across status, across different areas that they may be in. So that to mobilize towards equity and justice, as far as addressing the climate crisis, as far as like alleviating what the climate crisis has already done. And then that's the kind of like nonpartisan side of what Georgia Conservation Voters does. We do have a partisan side, and by that just means like our like electoral side. I don't work for that side, so I can't go too deep into that. However, that side does endorsements. That side does like a scorecard and basically calls out elected officials. Like, for instance, if you are terrible and you vote terribly for environment, like GCV will call you out. So yeah, so that's kind of like an overview of GCV and what we do. And yeah, so we do voter registration, get out the count. I hope everyone here has taken the census. I'm going to say that again. I hope everyone here has either taken the census or plans to take the census. Thank you. But yeah, so we engage civically to save the planet. So on to the South River. So the South River, just a little bit of background. The South River isn't as, popular as some of the other rivers in Georgia, such as like the Chattahoochee or like the Satilla or like Omoji and stuff like that. However, the South River is still amazing. When you think of the South River, think of South Atlanta. So those areas of like South Fulton, think of the areas around the airport. So South Fulton, parts of DeKalb and Rockdale, that is where the South River runs through. It's a super amazing river, but because there's not a lot of like representation and awareness of it, most folks aren't paying attention to it. Unfortunately, the South River does not have a river keeper. River keepers are just those people that are literally paid to upkeep the river. So the South River Watershed Alliance is I would say one of, if not the only, like entity that is helping protect and preserve the South River. The South River is one of the most polluted rivers in the state of Georgia. DeKalb County is constantly, like, there are constant sewage spills into the South River that DeKalb County has been called out on, and they have not been responsive to. Folks have filed complaints with the Environment Protections Division, and it's been non-responsive. Like, essentially, DeKalb County is just not really engaging with community whatsoever. And just like I put, DeKalb is in violation of the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act is essentially the legislation that protects the different water bodies. And DeKalb has just essentially been non-compliant with that. And then if you're on video, you may see this photo of this wonderful human with a poster that says, "I love Georgia's rivers because I love," and then it's just a poster that's like, "I love South River, da, da, da." That person is Dr. Jackie Eccles. Dr. Jackie Eccles is the person that's been leading the fight to preserve and protect the South River for, I want to say, 2 decades now. Actually, no, I think 3. No, 1999. Never mind, that's only 2, I think. But yeah, so the South River, I really wanted to uplift this because the other river bodies in Georgia have river keepers. They have tons of resources and ways of like engaging how to preserve those waterways, which I think is an amazing thing. However, that same treatment is not given to the South River, and being that the South River is in a largely Black and Brown populated area, reminds me that when we are thinking about environmental justice, we have to be thinking about all of our communities, and not just like wealthy ones, not just white ones, not just resourced ones. But yeah, so like I just really wanted to uplift that. Can I just hit enter? I can. Wow. So I went to the next slide for folks on the phone. One of the campaigns that the South River Watershed Alliance has is they are fighting back against DeKalb County trying to swap land with Black Hall Studios. I don't know if y'all know who Black Hall Studios is. It's just one of the major studios, like similar to Tyler Perry, and they shoot a bunch of Disney, Marvel, all that other stuff. It's one of the major studios in the state of Georgia. So there's this land called Entrenchment Creek Park that is public property that essentially DeKalb is trying to swap with land from Black Hall Studio. So if you're looking at this photo on video, essentially they're trying to take like this green space and swap it with nothing, with well, I won't say nothing because all land is valuable, but swap it with something that is not conducive to the environment, and swap it with a developer that is not being responsive to community. And I say that because the reason why Stop the Swap is so important is because it can set a precedent that you can essentially swap public land to a private entity. And that in itself is a problem, because that can send a message to all throughout the state that like public land is not for the public, it's for whoever can pay for it. And so like, if this is a lot, if I'm explaining a lot, I totally hear you. That is a valid thing. So that's why you can go to stoptheswap.org and you can learn about literally the campaign. You can learn about, oh my gosh, this makes me so angry. Who do I yell at? They have a list of legislators. They have a list of commissioners. They have a list of decision makers that are integral to this process. And they have like, you can also donate to them for if you want to help their like legal fund and things like that. Stoptheswap.org has literally all the information you need. And I just really wanted to uplift this because so